You wake to the soft rustle of reeds around your canoe. The gentle lapping of water against the wooden hull creates a rhythm as ancient as time itself. Your eyes open slowly, gradually, as the first pale light of dawn filters through the mist that rises from Lake Texcoco. The air is cool and sweet, carrying the scent of water lilies and the distant fragrance of copal incense from the great temples. You breathe deeply, feeling the morning mist settle gently on your skin, like a whispered blessing from the gods. Your name is Itzel, and you are a Temple Scribe in the magnificent city of Tenochtitlan. The year is 1503, and you serve in the sacred Templo Mayor, where the knowledge of your people flows like the waters of the great lake that surrounds your island home. The canoe rocks gently beneath you, a cradle of carved cedar wood that has carried you across these sacred waters for 7 years, since you were chosen as a child to learn the ancient art of writing, the tlacuiloli, the sacred paintings that preserve the wisdom of the Mexica people. You sit up slowly, your cotton huipil soft against your skin. The fabric was woven by your sister last spring, dyed with the deep blue of añil and decorated with patterns that tell the story of Quetzalcoatl's journey through the underworld. Each thread holds meaning. Each color carries the breath of the gods. The morning light grows stronger now, painting the water in shades of gold and amber. You can see the great city awakening in the distance, Tenochtitlan rising from the lake like a vision from the realm of dreams. The stepped pyramids catch the first rays of sun, their limestone surfaces glowing like captured starlight. Your paddle dips into the water, creating small circles that spread outward, disappearing into the vastness of the lake. The sound is soft, rhythmic, like a heartbeat. The water is clear and cool, reflecting the sky above in perfect stillness. As you paddle closer to the city, you pass the floating gardens, the chinampas that feed your people. Long rectangular plots of earth anchored by willow trees, their roots drinking deeply from the lake. The farmers are already at work, their movements slow and deliberate in the cool morning air. You pause to watch them. These chinampas are marvels of engineering, created by your ancestors who learned to make the desert bloom. The farmers use wooden tools called koas, digging channels between the garden plots, allowing the water to flow freely and nourish the crops. The air fills with the scent of growing things. Maize stalks stand tall and proud, their silk catching the morning light. Beans climb wooden stakes in perfect spirals, their leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze. Squash vines spread across the earth like green blankets, their yellow flowers opening to greet the sun. You breathe in the fragrance of herbs, growing in neat rows. Chili peppers hang like tiny lanterns, their red skin gleaming with morning dew. Tomatoes cluster on vines, green and red gems waiting to be harvested. The scent of cilantro and epazote mingles with the sweetness of cacao plants growing in the shade. A heron stands motionless in the shallows, its grey feathers perfectly still, watching, waiting. Its reflection in the water creates a perfect mirror image, as if two worlds exist, one above and one below. connected by the thin boundary of the lake's surface. The bird's patience reminds you of your own work. As a scribe, you must wait for the right moment, the perfect balance of ink and intention before setting brush to bark paper. Each symbol you create carries the weight of history, the breath of the gods, the heartbeat of your people. Your canoe glides silently through beds of water lilies. Their white petals float like fallen stars. Their broad leaves create platforms where frogs sit in meditation, occasionally releasing soft calls that echo across the water. The lily's roots reach deep into the lake's bottom, drawing nourishment from the dark earth below. You remember the legend your grandmother told you, how the water lilies were once tears of the moon goddess Koyol Sauki, shed when she was placed in the sky to watch over the world. Each flower that blooms carries her blessing, her gentle light reflected in the white petals. The morning mist begins to lift, revealing more of the city's splendor. You can see the great causeway of Tepeyac stretching across the water, a stone highway that connects your island home to the mainland. People are already crossing, their footsteps creating a gentle percussion on the stone. Warriors in feathered headdresses walk with measured steps, their shields catching the morning light. Merchants carry bundles of goods, cotton and cacao, jade and obsidian, precious feathers from the tropical forests. Their voices carry across the water, mixing with the sounds of the awakening city. You paddle past a group of fishermen casting their nets. The nets are woven from maguey fibers, strong and fine, designed to catch the small fish that thrive in the lake's waters. Fishermen work in silence. Their movements practice habits of the fish, the best times to cast their nets. As you draw closer to the city, you can smell the smoke from cooking fires, the scent of corn tortillas warming on clay griddles, the rich aroma of chocolate being prepared with honey and vanilla, the spicy fragrance of chili peppers being roasted over open flames. Your stomach responds to these familiar scents, reminding you that you haven't eaten since yesterday evening. But first, you must reach the temple. Your duties as a scribe begin before the sun fully rises, when the world is still soft with sleep and the gods are most receptive to human prayers. The great temple pyramid looms larger now, its steps ascending toward the heavens in perfect mathematical precision. Two temples crown its summit, one dedicated to Tlaloc, the rain god, the other to Huitzilopochtli, the god of war and the sun. The morning light catches the carved stone facades, revealing intricate patterns that tell the stories of creation. You can see the priests already moving about their morning rituals, their black robes flowing like shadows against the white stone. The scent of copal incense grows stronger, mixing with the fragrance of fresh flowers, marigolds and hibiscus, jasmine and roses, offerings to the gods who watch over the city. Your canoe slides into the small harbour at the temple's base. The water here is calm and protected, surrounded by carved stone walls that rise from the lake like ancient guardians. Other canoes rest here, their hulls dark with age and use, witnesses to countless journeys across the sacred waters. You secure your canoe with a rope made from maguey fibers. The knot is complex, taught to you by your father, who learned it from his father, a pattern that has been passed down through generations of your family. Each loop and twist carries the memory of countless hands. Stepping onto the stone platform, you feel the coolness of the carved limestone beneath your feet. The stone was quarried from the mountains beyond the valley, transported here by teams of workers who understood the sacred nature of their task. Each block was blessed by priests before being placed in the temple's foundation. The morning air is fresh and clean, carrying the scent of the lake and the distant mountains. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with the sacred breath of the dawn. This is the hour when the boundaries between worlds grow thin, when the gods lean close to hear the prayers of their people. You begin your ascent of the temple steps. Each step is carved with symbols that tell the story of creation. The feathered serpent Quetzalcoatl, the rain god Tlaloc, the earth mother Coatlicue. Your feet know these symbols by heart, having traced their patterns thousands of times. The climb is slow and meditative, each step taken with reverence, with awareness of the sacred nature of this place. As you ascend, the city spreads out below you like a map drawn by the gods themselves. Canals and causeways creating perfect geometric patterns. Gardens and plazas arranged in harmonious balance. Halfway up the pyramid, you pause to rest. The morning sun has climbed higher now, casting long shadows across the city. The light is golden and warm, touching your face like a gentle caress. You can see the entire valley spread out before you. Mountains rising in the distance like sleeping giants. The air is thin here, closer to the realm. The sacred energy of this place flows through your body. This is where your ancestors spoke with the divine, where the wisdom of the ages was first recorded, where your own calling as a scribe began. A priest approaches, his footsteps silent on the stone. He is elderly, his face lined with years of service. His eyes hold the deep calm of one who has spent his life in communion with the divine. He nods to you in greeting, a gesture of respect between servants of the gods. The morning, you bow your head in acknowledgement, feeling the weight of your responsibility. As a scribe, you are a keeper of memory, a guardian of wisdom, a bridge between the world of mortals and the realm of the gods. Your work will survive long after your body returns to the earth. The priest leads you to a small chamber carved into the heart of the pyramid. The walls are covered with murals that tell the story of your people, the journey from Aztlan, the founding of Tenochtitlan, the reigns of the great rulers who built this magnificent city. The colors are rich and vibrant, reds and blues, yellows and greens, created from pigments ground from precious stones and plants. In the center of the chamber stands your desk, a low table carved from a single piece of cedar wood. Its surface is smooth and polished, worn by years of use. Beside it sits a small brazier where copal incense burns constantly, sending thin streams of fragrant smoke toward the ceiling. Your tools are arranged with perfect precision. Brushes made from human hair, their handles carved from bone. Bowls of ink prepared from soot and tree sap. Colors ground from flowers and minerals. A water jar filled with pure spring water, blessed by the priests at dawn. The bark paper lies waiting, its surface rough and natural, created from the inner bark of the amateur tree. The paper makers soaked the bark in lime water, then beat it with stone tools until it formed sheets thin enough to write upon. Each sheet represents hours of careful work, the transformation of living wood into a surface that can hold human thoughts. You settle into the familiar rhythm of preparation, arranging your tools with the same careful attention your grandmother used when weaving. Each brush placed according to its purpose, each bowl of ink positioned for easy access. The movements are slow and deliberate, part of the sacred ritual of writing. The morning light filters through a small window carved high in the wall. The beam falls across your workspace like a blessing, illuminating the bark paper with a soft golden glow. This is the light of knowledge, the illumination that allows wisdom to flow from mind to hand to page. You begin to prepare your first color, a deep red made from cochineal insects, tiny creatures that live on cactus plants. Their bodies yield a crimson dye more precious than gold. You mix the pigment with water, stirring slowly, watching as the color deepens and enriches. The process is meditative. Each circle of the mixing stick creates ripples in the liquid, patterns that spread outward like thoughts becoming words. The color must be perfect, neither too thick nor too thin, capable of flowing smoothly from brush to paper without bleeding or fading. Outside the chamber, you can hear the sounds of the city awakening, the calls of vendors beginning their daily rounds, the laughter of children playing in the courtyards, the rhythmic sound of women grinding corn on metates, preparing the morning meal. These sounds create a gentle symphony, the music of life continuing its eternal dance. You dip your brush in the red ink, testing its consistency on a small piece of practice paper. The color flows evenly, creating a line that is both bold and black ink requires special care. Too much soot and it becomes muddy. Too little and it appears grey and lifeless. You have learned the precise proportions through years of practice, under the guidance of masters who learned from their own teachers, an unbroken chain of knowledge stretching back to the beginning of time. As you work, your mind settles into the familiar rhythm of concentration. The outside world fades away, leaving only the immediate present. The tools in your hands, the colors taking shape, the sacred act of preparing to record the wisdom of the gods. The copal incense continues to burn, its smoke rising in perfect spirals. The scent is sweet and resinous, a fragrance that has accompanied human prayer for thousands of years. The smoke carries your intentions upward toward the realm of the gods, where all wisdom originates. You close your eyes for a moment, feeling the presence of your ancestors, the scribes who came before you, their hands guiding yours, their knowledge flowing through you like water through a stream. You are not alone in this sacred work. You are part of an eternal community of scholars and seekers. The morning ritual is almost complete. Your tools are ready, your colors prepared, the bark paper waiting like a blank canvas for the stories that will soon unfold. You breathe deeply, centering yourself in the present moment, preparing to begin the day's work. The first text you will copy today is a hymn to Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, god of wind and learning. The words were composed by a priest-poet who lived 3 generations ago, but their truth is eternal, their beauty undimmed by the passage of time. You select your finest brush, one made from the hair of a young jaguar. Its tip is sharp and precise, capable of creating both delicate details and bold strokes. The handle fits perfectly in your hand, balanced and comfortable, an extension of your own body. The hymn begins with an invocation to the 4 directions, calling upon the spirits of east and west, north and south, to witness the sacred act of writing. Each direction has its own color, its own meaning, its own place in the cosmic order. You begin with the glyph for east, the direction of the rising sun, the place where light is born each day. The symbol is complex, composed of several elements that must be perfectly balanced. A stylized sun, rays extending in all directions, surrounded by symbols representing the morning star. Your brush moves with practiced confidence, each stroke deliberate and precise. The red ink flows smoothly, creating lines that are both strong and graceful. The glyph takes shape slowly, each element added with careful attention to proportion and placement. The work requires complete concentration. A single mistake can ruin hours of effort. The bark paper cannot be erased. Each mark is permanent, a testament to the scribe's skill or failure. But you have trained for this. Your hand steady, your mind clear and focused. As you work, you remember the words of your teacher. The scribe must become one with the text, not merely copying symbols, but breathing life into them, making them dance with the rhythm of the gods. His voice echoes in your memory, guiding your hand as it moves across the page. The morning sun climbs higher, its light shifting and changing as it moves across the sky. The beam through the window now illuminates a different part of your workspace, but you adjust naturally, your body following the rhythm of the day. You complete the glyph for east and pause, examining your work with critical eyes. The proportions are correct, the lines clean and confident, the color rich and even. Satisfied, you dip your brush in the yellow ink, the color of the south. The direction of growth and abundance. The southern glyph is more complex, incorporating symbols for maize and water, the elements that sustain life. Your brush moves in flowing curves, creating the stylized corn plant that represents the south. Each kernel carefully positioned, each leaf perfectly curved. The work is hypnotic. The repetitive motions of the brush, the careful attention to detail, the slow building of meaning through accumulated symbols. Time seems to slow, each moment expanding to contain infinite possibility. You add the water symbols, flowing lines that represent the rivers and streams that nourish the earth. The blue ink mingles with the yellow, creating areas of green where they meet, the color of growing things, of life itself. The morning progresses quietly. The sounds from outside the chamber grow softer, more distant, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for the sacred text to be completed. The only sounds are the gentle scraping of your brush against the paper, the soft hiss of the incense burning, your own quiet breathing. You complete the southern glyph and move to the west, the direction of the setting sun, the place where the day goes to rest. The color is white, the color of clouds and mist, of the breath of the gods. The western glyph is simpler, more abstract, representing the mystery of endings and transformations. Your brush moves with increasing confidence. The morning's work has warmed your hand, loosened your muscles, brought you into perfect harmony with the tools and materials. Each stroke flows naturally into the next, creating a rhythm that mirrors the beating of your heart. The white ink requires special care. It can appear flat and lifeless if not applied correctly. But you have learned the secret: to layer the color gradually, building depth and luminosity through multiple thin coats. The result is a glyph that seems to glow with inner light. As you work on the western glyph, you think about the symbolism it represents. The west is the direction of wisdom, where the sun goes to die each day before being reborn in the east. It is the place of ancestors, of those who have passed beyond the veil of death but continue to guide the living. You feel their presence now, the ancient scribes who perfected these techniques, who developed the complex system of writing that allows human thoughts to be preserved for future generations. Their wisdom flows through your hands. Their knowledge lives in the symbols you create. The western glyph is complete. Its white lines stark against the natural color of the bark paper. You set down your brush and flex your fingers, feeling the pleasant ache of concentration, of work done with complete attention and care. Only the northern glyph remains, the direction of the night, of rest and dreams. The color is black, the color of the void from which all things emerge. The northern glyph is the most complex, incorporating symbols for the night sky, the stars that guide travelers, the moon that measures time. You select a different brush for this final glyph, one with a broader tip, capable of creating the bold strokes needed for the night symbols. The black ink is deep and rich, darker than the deepest night, more profound than the space between stars. The northern glyph begins with the symbol for night, a stylized sky dotted with stars. Each star must be perfectly placed, following the patterns your ancestors observed in the actual heavens. The night sky is a map, a guide for both earthly and spiritual journeys. Your brush moves with reverent care, each star a tiny point of light in the vast darkness. The pattern slowly emerges, constellations that tell the stories of the gods, guide the planting and harvesting of crops, mark the passage of seasons and years. The work is nearly complete. The four directions, arranged in perfect balance, east and west, north and south, forming a cosmic map that contains all of existence. The colors blend and harmonize, creating a visual symphony that speaks to both eye and soul. You add the final details, small flourishes that bring the glyphs to life. A gentle curve here, a subtle variation in line weight there. These finishing touches are what separate mere copying from true artistry, what transforms symbols into living representations of divine truth. The morning light has grown stronger, filling the chamber with a warm, golden glow. The incense continues to burn, its smoke creating lazy spirals that rise toward the ceiling. The air is fragrant with copal and the subtle scent of the inks and pigments. You set down your brush and lean back, examining the completed work. The 4 direction glyphs are perfectly balanced, their colors rich and harmonious, their forms precise and meaningful. This is more than mere decoration. It is a prayer made visible, a bridge between the human and divine realms. The first page of the hymn is complete, but there are many more to follow. Each page will tell part of the story, contribute to the whole, like individual voices joining in a sacred chorus. The work will take many days to complete, but each day brings its own satisfaction, its own communion with the divine. You carefully set the completed page aside to dry. The inks need time to set properly, to bond with the fibers of the bark paper, to become permanent records of this moment, this morning, this sacred act of creation. Standing slowly, you stretch your muscles, feeling the pleasant fatigue of concentrated work. Outside the chamber, the sounds of the city continue, but they seem distant now, filtered through the haze of creative concentration. You exist in a space between worlds, between the human and the divine. The morning is passing, but time has taken on a different quality. In the act of creation, of bringing beauty into existence, time becomes fluid, eternal. Each moment contains infinite depth, infinite possibility, infinite connection to the source of all things. You walk to the small window, looking out over the city spread below, Tenochtitlan in the full glory of morning. The lake sparkles in the sunlight, the canals reflect the sky, the gardens bloom with countless flowers. It is a vision of paradise, a dream made manifest through human will and divine inspiration. The people move about their daily tasks, but from this height, their movements seem choreographed, part of a greater dance, a cosmic ballet in which each individual plays a small but essential part. The city breathes with collective life, pulsing with the rhythm of thousands of hearts. You think about your role in this great symphony. As a scribe, you are both observer and participant, recording the wisdom of the ages, while adding your own small contribution. Your work will outlast your physical form, carrying your essence into the future, connecting past and present in an unbroken chain of knowledge. The morning air is fresh and clean, carrying the scent of flowers and water, of cooking fires and incense, of life itself in all its rich complexity. You breathe deeply, filling your lungs with the sacred breath of the city, feeling yourself part of something greater than individual existence. A soft chime sounds from somewhere in the temple, marking the passage of time, calling the faithful to the morning prayers. The sound is clear and pure, rising above the gentle murmur of the city, a voice calling all beings to remember their connection to the divine. You return to your workspace, ready to begin the next page of the hymn. The morning's work has been successful, but there is much more to do. The story of Quetzalcoatl is long and complex, filled with adventures and teachings, with moments of triumph and transformation. The second page will tell of the feathered serpent's journey to the underworld, his quest to retrieve the bones of the previous creation, to bring forth the current race of humanity. It is a story of sacrifice and renewal, of death and rebirth, of the eternal cycle that governs all existence. You prepare fresh colors, mixing new batches of ink with the same careful attention as before. Each color must be perfect, neither too thick nor too thin, capable of flowing smoothly from brush to paper. The process is meditative, requiring complete presence and attention. The red ink for this page will be deeper, richer, representing the blood of sacrifice that made creation possible. The black will be profound, representing the darkness of the underworld that Quetzalcoatl must traverse. The other colors will support and enhance these primary themes. As you work, you feel the presence of the god himself, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, patron of learning and the arts. His wisdom guides your hand. His knowledge flows through the symbols you create. You are not merely telling his story. You are participating in it, becoming part of the eternal narrative. The morning sun continues its journey across the sky, its light shifting and changing as it moves. The beam through the window now illuminates a different part of your workspace, but you adjust naturally, your body following the rhythm of the day, part of the cosmic dance that governs all existence. You begin the second page with an invocation to the underworld, calling upon the spirits of the dead to witness the sacred story. The symbols are different from those of the four directions, more angular, more mysterious, representing the hidden realms that lie beneath the surface of ordinary reality. Your brush moves with increasing confidence. The morning's work has brought you into perfect harmony with the tools and materials. Each stroke flows naturally into the next, creating a rhythm that mirrors the beating of your heart, the breathing of your lungs, the pulse of life itself. The work is both challenging and deeply satisfying. Each symbol must be perfect, each line precise, each color applied with care and attention. But when the elements come together, when the page begins to take shape, the satisfaction is profound. The sense of connection to something greater than yourself. You add the figure of Quetzalcoatl himself, the feathered serpent in his human form. His face is serene, his eyes filled with wisdom, his hands positioned in a gesture of blessing. The image emerges slowly, each detail added with reverent care, each line a prayer, each color an offering. The god's feathered cloak is particularly challenging. Each feather must be individually rendered, its colors subtle and complex, ranging from deep green to brilliant blue, from golden yellow to pure white. The effect when complete is breathtaking, a garment that seems to shimmer with divine light. As you work on the intricate details, you lose yourself in the rhythm of creation. The outside world fades away, leaving only the immediate present. The brush in your hand, the colors taking shape, the sacred story unfolding upon the bark paper. Time becomes fluid, elastic, each moment containing infinite depth. The morning progresses quietly. The sounds from outside the chamber grow softer, more distant, as if the world itself is holding its breath, waiting for the sacred text to be completed. The only sounds are the gentle scraping of your brush against the paper, the soft hiss of the incense burning, your own quiet breathing. You pause occasionally to study your work, examining each detail with critical eyes, adjusting a line here, adding a touch of color there. The process is iterative, building slowly toward perfection. Each small improvement bringing the image closer to the divine ideal. The figure of Quetzalcoatl is nearly complete. His face serene and wise, his body strong and graceful, his feathered cloak a marvel of artistic skill. But it is more than mere artistry. It is a sacred image, a window into the divine realm, a means of connecting with the god himself. You add the final details, the subtle shadows that give the figure depth, the delicate highlights that make it seem to glow with inner light, the small decorative elements that mark his divine status. Each addition carefully considered, each stroke deliberate and precise. The second page is complete. The story of Quetzalcoatl's journey to the underworld, told in symbols and colors, in lines and shapes that speak to the soul as well as the eye. It is a page that will be studied and admired for generations, a testament to the power of human creativity guided by divine inspiration. You set the completed page aside to dry, next to the first page with its 4 direction glyphs. The morning's work is taking shape, the sacred hymn growing page by page, story by story, symbol by symbol. Each page a small miracle, a fragment of eternity captured in ink and color. The morning sun has climbed higher, its light now streaming through the window at a steep angle. The golden rays illuminate dust motes dancing in the air, tiny particles that seem to move in slow motion, part of the eternal dance of creation and dissolution. You stand and stretch, feeling the pleasant fatigue of concentrated work. Your muscles are slightly stiff from maintaining the same position, but the sensation is satisfying, the physical evidence of meaningful labor, of time well spent in service to the divine. Walking to the window again, you look out over the city, Tenochtitlan, in the full glory of late morning. The lake sparkles like scattered diamonds. The canals reflect the sky in perfect mirror images. The gardens bloom with flowers in every color of the rainbow. The people continue their daily activities, but from this height, their movements seem part of a greater pattern, a cosmic choreography in which each individual plays a small but essential role. The city breathes with collective life, pulsing with the rhythm of thousands of hearts beating in unison. You think about the pages you have completed, the sacred symbols that now exist where none existed before. The divine story made visible through human skill and devotion. It is a humbling thought to be chosen as a vessel for such sacred work, to be trusted with preserving the wisdom of the ages. The morning air carries the scent of flowers and incense, of water and growing things, of life itself in all its rich complexity. You breathe deeply, feeling yourself part of the great web of existence, connected to all things through the invisible threads of divine love. A gentle breeze stirs the air in the chamber, cooling your skin, ruffling the pages of completed work. The movement seems alive, purposeful, as if the very air is blessed with consciousness. With the breath, the third page will require different colors, different symbols, different techniques. But the basic process remains the same. The careful preparation of materials, the meditative mixing of inks, the errant approach to the sacred act of creation. You begin to prepare the colors for the third page, mixing pigments with the same careful attention as before. Each color must be perfect, neither too thick nor too thin, capable of flowing smoothly from brush to paper. The process is ritual, meditation, prayer made visible. The morning continues its slow progression, the light shifting and changing as the sun moves across the sky, the temperature rising slightly as the day advances. But here in the sacred chamber, time seems suspended, held in the eternal present of creative work. You select your brush, dip it in the prepared ink, and begin the third page. The story of creation continues, the divine narrative unfolding symbol by symbol, line by line, in the ancient language of the gods. Your hand moves with practiced skill, guided by wisdom older than memory. The work flows naturally now. Your body has found its rhythm. Your mind has settled into the meditative state that allows true creativity to emerge. Each stroke is both deliberate and spontaneous, planned and intuitive, a perfect balance of conscious skill and divine inspiration. As you work, you feel the presence of your ancestors, the long line of scribes who have preserved the sacred knowledge. Their wisdom flows through your hands. Their knowledge lives in the symbols you create. You are part of an eternal community, connected across time by the common purpose of serving the divine. The morning sun reaches its zenith, filling the chamber with warm golden light. The incense continues to burn, its smoke rising in perfect spirals. The air is fragrant with copal and the subtle scent of the ink sand pigments. The atmosphere itself seems sacred, charged with divine presence. You continue working, lost in the rhythm of creation, the sacred dance of brush and ink, of symbol and meaning, of human skill and divine inspiration. The third page takes shape slowly, each element added with reverent care, each line a prayer, each color an offering. The morning's work is nearly complete. 3 pages of the sacred hymn finished, their colors rich and harmonious, their forms precise and meaningful. The story of Quetzalcoatl preserved for future generations, the wisdom of the ages made visible through human devotion. You feel a deep sense of satisfaction, not pride in personal achievement, but joy in successful service to the divine, in the completion of sacred work, in the preservation of truth and beauty for those who will come after. It is a feeling beyond words, a communion with the source of all things. The morning light begins to change, shifting from the golden glow of mid-morning to the clearer light of approaching noon. The shadows in the chamber move slowly, marking the passage of time, the eternal dance of light and darkness that governs all existence. You set down your brush and lean back, studying the morning's work with satisfaction. 3 pages of sacred text completed, the divine story preserved in ink and color. the wisdom of the ages, made visible through human skill and devotion. It is good work, worthy work, sacred work. The morning session is drawing to a close. Soon it will be time for the midday meal, time to rest and restore your strength for the afternoon's labors. But first, you must properly store the completed pages, protect them from damage, ensure their preservation for future generations. You carefully arrange the pages on wooden drying racks, positioning them to catch the gentle air circulation without exposing them to direct sunlight. The inks need time to set properly. To bond with the fibers of the bark paper, to become permanent records of this sacred morning. The ritual of storing the work is as important as the creation itself. Each page handled with reverence, each movement deliberate and careful. The preservation of knowledge is a sacred trust, a responsibility that extends beyond individual lifetime into the eternal realm of cultural memory. You clean your brushes with slow precision, washing away the morning's colors, preparing them for the afternoon's work. Each brush is valuable, crafted by skilled artisans, treated with respect and care. The tools of creation deserve honor. They are instruments of divine service. The ink bowls are covered with cloth, protecting the remaining pigments from dust and evaporation. The colors will be used again, mixed fresh for each session. But the morning's work is complete. 3 pages of sacred text finished, the divine story advanced, the wisdom of the ages preserved. You feel a deep sense of satisfaction, not personal pride, but joy in service to something greater than oneself, in successful completion of sacred duty. The chamber is quiet now, filled with the peace that follows meaningful work. The incense continues to burn, its smoke rising in gentle spirals. The air is fragrant with copal and the lingering scent of pigments, a perfume that speaks of creativity and devotion. You bow your head in a moment of silent gratitude, thanking the gods for the privilege of serving them, for the gift of skilled hands and clear vision, for the opportunity to preserve the sacred wisdom for future generations. The prayer rises from your heart like the smoke from the incense, wordless but profound. The morning light has grown warm and golden, filling the chamber with a gentle radiance. The beam through the window now illuminates the drying pages, making the colors glow with inner fire. The sacred symbols seem alive, pulsing with divine energy, breathing with the rhythm of creation itself. You gather your personal items, preparing to leave the chamber for the midday break. Your water gourd, woven with patterns that tell the story of the rain god Tlaloc. Your small pouch of coca leaves, a gift from a merchant who traveled from the distant mountains. Your jade amulet, carved with protective symbols, worn smooth by countless touches. As you prepare to leave, you take one last look at the morning's work. 3 pages of sacred text, their colors rich and harmonious, their forms precise and meaningful. The story of Quetzalcoatl preserved in permanent form, the wisdom of the ages made visible through human devotion. The satisfaction is deep and lasting, not the fleeting pleasure of completed tasks, but the profound joy of meaningful service, of work that connects you to the divine, to your ancestors, to the eternal flow of wisdom through time. This is why you became a scribe, for moments like this, When the boundaries between human and divine dissolve, you step out of the chamber, blinking in the brighter light of the temple corridors. The air is cooler here, stirred by gentle breezes that flow through the carefully designed passages. The architects of this sacred place understood how to create harmony between inner and outer worlds, between human needs and divine purposes. The corridors are decorated with murals that tell the history of your people, the journey from the mythical homeland of Aztlan, the wandering in the wilderness, the founding of Tenochtitlan, on the spot where an eagle perched on a cactus, devouring a serpent. The images are vivid and powerful, speaking to the heart as well as the mind. You walk slowly, reverently, through these sacred halls. Your footsteps echo softly on the polished stone floors. The sound mingles with the distant chanting of priests, the soft whisper of incense smoke, the gentle murmur of pilgrims come to pray. The temple breathes with collective devotion, alive with the prayers of thousands. Other scribes move through the corridors, their faces serene with concentration, their hands stained with the colors of their craft. You nod to them in greeting, brothers and sisters in the sacred work, united by common purpose, by shared devotion to the preservation of wisdom. An elderly master scribe approaches, his beard white with age, his eyes bright with accumulated wisdom. He has trained countless students, guided generations of young scribes, his knowledge vast and deep. He stops beside you, his presence both calming and inspiring. The morning's work progresses well, he says softly, his voice carrying the authority of experience. The gods smile upon your efforts. Your hand grows more skilled with each passing day. The sacred texts flow through you like water through a well-crafted channel. You bow your head in gratitude, humbled by his praise, honored by his attention. The wisdom of the ancestors guides my hand, you reply. I am merely a vessel, a means for the divine knowledge to flow from the realm of the gods into the world of mortals. He nods approvingly. That is the true understanding, the foundation of all sacred work. When the ego dissolves, when the individual will surrenders to divine purpose, then true creation becomes possible. Then the work becomes prayer, becomes communion with the source of all things. His words resonate in your heart, confirming what you have felt during the morning's work, the sense of being part of something greater, of serving a purpose beyond personal ambition. He moves on, his footsteps fading into the soft acoustics of the temple. But his words remain, echoing in your mind, strengthening your resolve, deepening your commitment to the sacred work. You carry his blessing with you as you continue through the corridors. The temple is vast, its chambers and passages forming a complex, sacred geography. Each room serves a specific purpose. Each corridor connects important spaces. Each decoration carries meaning. The whole structure is a three-dimensional mandala, a map of the cosmos rendered in stone and mortar. You pass the chamber where the young scribes receive their training. Through the open doorway, you can see them bent over their practice sheets, their faces intense with concentration, their hands moving carefully across the bark paper, learning the basic strokes, the fundamental symbols, the sacred grammar of the gods. The sight brings back memories of your own training, the long hours of practice, the gradual development of skill, the moment when the symbols first began to flow naturally from your brush. It was like learning to speak a new language, the language of the divine, the tongue of creation itself. You remember your first successful glyph, a simple symbol for water, but rendered with such precision, such beauty, that your teacher smiled with genuine pleasure. "Now you begin to understand," he said. "The symbol is not separate from its meaning. Form and essence are one. To write truly is to participate in the act of creation." The memory fills you with gratitude for the teachers who guided your development, for the opportunity to learn this sacred craft, for the privilege of preserving the wisdom of the ages. Your personal journey is part of a greater story, a thread in the vast tapestry of cultural continuity. You continue through the temple, moving toward the chambers where the midday meal is served. The hunger in your stomach reminds you of your physical needs, but it is a pleasant sensation. A natural result of meaningful work, of energy well spent in service to the divine. The dining area is a large chamber with windows that look out over the city. The view is spectacular. Tenochtitlan spread out like a jewel in the setting of the lake. The causeway stretching toward the mainland, the canals reflecting the sky, the gardens blooming with flowers. It is a vision of paradise, a dream made manifest through human will and divine blessing. Other temple workers are already seated, priests and scribes, architects and gardeners, all united in the common purpose of serving the gods. Their conversations are quiet and respectful, filled with references to the morning's work, plans for the afternoon, observations about the weather and the seasons. You take your place at a low table, sitting cross-legged on woven mats. The posture is comfortable, familiar from years of practice. Your body settles naturally into the position, preparing for the ritual of the meal, the communion with the gifts of the earth. The food is simple but nourishing. Corn tortillas still warm from the griddle, beans cooked with chili peppers and herbs, fresh vegetables from the temple gardens, water flavored with fruit essences. Each dish prepared with care, seasoned with devotion, blessed by the priests before serving. You eat slowly, mindfully, aware of the flavors and textures. The gifts of the earth transformed by human skill into sustenance for the body. Each bite is a prayer of gratitude, an acknowledgement of the interconnectedness of all life, the web of relationships that sustains existence. The tortillas are made from corn blessed by Tenochtitlan, the god of maize, the divine grain that forms the foundation of life. The kernels were soaked in lime water, ground on volcanic stone metates, formed into flat rounds and cooked on clay griddles. Each tortilla represents hours of skilled labor, generations of accumulated knowledge. The beans are from the sacred trilogy, maize, beans, and squash, the three sisters that grow together in perfect harmony. The beans climbing the cornstalks, the squash providing ground cover. The three plants supporting each other in an ancient dance of mutual aid. The relationship mirrors the ideal of human community. You savor the subtle flavors, the earthy richness of the beans, the sweet nuttiness of the corn, the fresh crispness of the vegetables. Each taste carries the memory of soil and sun, of rain and wind. of the natural forces that make life possible. The meal is communion with the living earth. The water is cool and pure, drawn from the sacred springs that feed the city, flavored with essence of hibiscus flowers. The taste is refreshing, cleansing, preparing the body for the afternoon's work. The liquid carries the blessing of Tlaloc, the rain god who brings life to the earth. As you eat, you listen to the quiet conversations around you. Discussions of upcoming festivals, reports from the provinces, observations about the behavior of birds and animals. The temple community is connected to the larger world, aware of the currents of change that flow through the empire. A priest speaks softly about the morning's astronomical observations, the position of Venus in the pre-dawn sky, the phase of the moon, the subtle changes that mark the passage of time. The celestial dance continues its eternal rhythm, providing guidance for human activities, marking the proper times for planting and harvesting, for ceremonies and celebrations. Another scribe mentions the arrival of tribute from distant provinces, precious feathers from tropical birds, cacao beans from the hot lands, jade stones from the mountains. The wealth of the empire flows toward the capital, supporting the temples, funding the preservation of knowledge, enabling the continuation of sacred work. The conversations create a gentle background music, human voices blending in harmony, sharing information, expressing concern, offering support. The temple community is like a family, bound together by common purpose, united in devotion to the divine. You finish your meal slowly, reluctant to end this peaceful interlude. The food has restored your energy, prepared your body for the afternoon's labors. But more than that, the quiet communion with your fellow workers has nourished your spirit, renewed your sense of belonging to something greater than yourself. Rising from the table, you bow to your companions, expressing gratitude for their presence, for the shared meal, for the invisible bonds that connect all beings in the web of existence. The gesture is returned, creating a moment of mutual recognition, acknowledgement of the sacred in the ordinary. You walk to the windows, looking out over the city one more time. The sun has passed its zenith, beginning the slow descent toward evening. The light has a different quality now, clearer, more focused, perfect for the detailed work of the afternoon. The lake sparkles in the midday sun, its surface broken by the gentle movement of canoes, fishermen casting their nets, merchants transporting goods, pilgrims arriving for the afternoon ceremonies. The water is the lifeblood of the city, connecting all parts of the urban organism, enabling the flow of people and goods and ideas. You can see the floating gardens in the distance, the chinampas that feed the city, green rectangles of cultivated land floating on the water, connected by channels that allow canoes to navigate between them. The system is a marvel of engineering, a testament to human ingenuity guided by divine wisdom. The afternoon work awaits. More pages of the sacred hymn to complete, more symbols to render, more divine wisdom to preserve. The prospect fills you with anticipation, with eagerness to return to the sacred work, to continue the eternal task of bridging the gap between human and divine. You return to the chamber, feeling refreshed and ready. The 3 completed pages have dried, their colors set permanently in the bark paper. The morning's work preserved for eternity. A small contribution to the vast library of human knowledge. A few more words in the endless conversation between mortal and divine. The afternoon light streams through the window, different from the morning radiance, more direct, more intense, perfect for the detailed work ahead. The chamber welcomes you back, familiar and comforting. A sacred space where creativity and devotion merge into one. You settle into your working position, feeling your body remember the morning's rhythm. The careful balance of relaxation and attention. The meditative state that allows true creativity to emerge. The tools await your touch. The colors ready to flow. The blank pages eager to receive the sacred symbols. But first, a moment of stillness, of centering, of connection to the divine source from which all wisdom flows. You close your eyes, breathe deeply, feel the presence of your ancestors, the guidance of the gods, the support of your community. You are ready to continue the sacred work. The afternoon stretches ahead, filled with possibility, with the promise of new pages completed, new symbols created, new connections forged between the human and divine realms. The work continues, as it has for generations, as it will for generations to come, eternal and ever-changing, like the flow of the great river of time itself. Your eyelids grow heavy with the deep satisfaction of meaningful work. The gentle sounds of the temple, the soft whisper of incense smoke, the distant murmur of prayers, all blend into a lullaby of peace. The morning session is complete. The afternoon awaits. But for now, there is only the quiet contentment of duty well performed. The warm light filters through the chamber, wrapping around you like a soft blanket. The pages of completed work rest safely nearby, their colors glowing softly in the afternoon radiance. The sacred symbols seem to pulse with gentle life, breathing with the rhythm of creation itself. You drift into a peaceful rest, surrounded by the tools of your craft, protected by the sacred walls of the temple, held in the loving embrace of tradition and wisdom. The work continues in your dreams, the symbols flowing like water, the colors blooming like flowers, the divine story unfolding in endless beauty. And sleep comes softly, naturally, like the gentle lapping of waves against the shore, like the quiet rustle of reeds in the evening breeze. Your breathing slows. Deep Chapter 2, The Sacred Marketplace. You awaken slowly, gently, as the afternoon sun filters through the temple windows. The light has changed since your peaceful rest, grown softer, more golden, casting long shadows that dance across the chamber walls. The air is warm and still, heavy with the lingering scent of copal incense. Your body feels refreshed, restored by the brief sleep, ready for the afternoon's sacred work. You stretch carefully, feeling your muscles respond, awakening to the rhythm of the day. The morning's accomplishments rest safely nearby. 3 pages of the sacred hymn completed, their colors rich and permanent. The sounds of the temple have changed. The morning's quiet concentration has given way to the gentle bustle of afternoon activities. Footsteps in the corridors, quiet conversations, the soft chanting of priests preparing for the evening ceremonies. The temple breathes with renewed energy. You rise from your resting place, moving slowly, reverently, aware of the sacred nature of this space, this time, this continuing opportunity to serve the divine through your craft. The afternoon light beckons, promising new pages to complete, new symbols to create, new connections to forge between mortal and divine. But first, you must venture into the city, to the great marketplace of Tlatelolco, to gather supplies for your continuing work. Fresh pigments ground from precious stones, new brushes crafted by skilled artisans, bark paper prepared according to ancient methods. The marketplace is itself a sacred space where the wealth of the empire flows like water. You gather your personal items, preparing for the journey into the city. Your cotton cloak woven with patterns that identify you as a Temple Scribe. Your pouch of jade beads, currency for the marketplace. Obsidian blade, sharp enough to cut bark paper, polished to a mirror finish. The temple corridors welcome you as you begin your journey. The stone walls lined with sacred murals, the floors polished smooth by countless feet, the air fragrant with incense and the breath of devotion. You walk slowly, reverently, aware of the privilege of serving in this holy place. Other scribes nod in greeting as you pass, their faces serene with concentration, their hands stained with the colors of their craft. You are part of a community, a brotherhood of knowledge, united in the sacred work of preserving wisdom. The bonds between you are invisible but strong. You pause at the temple entrance, looking out over the great plaza. The afternoon sun illuminates the vast space, revealing the geometric patterns carved into the stone, the sacred symbols that tell the story of creation, the eternal dance of gods and mortals. The plaza is a map of the cosmos, rendered in stone and shadow. Pilgrims move across the plaza, their movements slow and purposeful. Some carry offerings of flowers and incense, others bring food and precious goods, all united in the common desire to commune with the divine. Their presence transforms the space, makes it alive with devotion. You descend the temple steps, each footfall careful and deliberate. The stone is warm from the sun, smooth from centuries of use. Each step connects you to the countless others who have walked this path, priests and pilgrims, scribes and scholars, all seeking the same sacred connection. The great plaza stretches before you, a vast expanse of polished stone. At its center stands the sacred fire, burning eternally, tended by priests who never allow it to die. The flame represents the heart of the universe, the divine spark that animates all existence. Its light dances in the afternoon breeze. You cross the plaza slowly, feeling the weight of history beneath your feet. This is where the great ceremonies take place, where the emperor addresses his people, where the gods manifest their presence in the world. The stones themselves seem to pulse with accumulated power. The causeway leading to Tlatelolco stretches ahead, a stone highway that spans the waters of the lake. The engineering is remarkable. Massive stones fitted together without mortar, creating a road that can support the weight of thousands, yet flexible enough to withstand the movement of the earth. You join the flow of people crossing the causeway, merchants with their bundles of goods, farmers bringing produce to market, artisans carrying their creations. The diversity is wonderful. Representatives of every craft and calling, united in the common purpose of exchange and trade. The lake spreads out on either side, its surface reflecting the afternoon sky. Canoes move along the waterways, their occupants paddling with practiced skill. The water is the lifeblood of the city, connecting all parts of the urban organism, enabling the flow of goods and people and ideas. You pause at the midpoint of the causeway, looking back toward Tenochtitlan. The great temple rises like a mountain from the lake, its stepped pyramid silhouetted against the sky. The city spreads around it, a pattern of canals and buildings, gardens and plazas, organized according to divine principles. The view is breathtaking, a vision of paradise created by human hands, but guided by divine wisdom. The floating gardens stretch in neat rows. The canals reflect the sky. The buildings rise in harmonious proportions. It is a city that embodies the cosmic order, a physical manifestation of sacred geometry. You continue across the causeway, approaching the island of Tlatelolco. The marketplace comes into view, a vast complex of buildings and open areas, organized according to the goods being sold. The scale is overwhelming. Thousands of merchants and customers, countless varieties of goods, the wealth of the empire displayed in organized abundance. The entrance to the marketplace is marked by towering stone columns, carved with symbols that invoke the protection of the gods. Merchants and customers pass between them, entering a space that is both commercial and sacred, where the exchange of goods becomes a form of prayer, a celebration of the abundance of creation. You enter the marketplace, immediately surrounded by a symphony of sounds, voices calling out prices, the shuffle of feet on stone, the gentle splash of water in the canals that run through the complex. The acoustics are carefully designed, allowing communication without overwhelming noise. The organization is perfect, logical yet beautiful. Each section devoted to a specific type of good. Foodstuffs in one area, textiles in another, precious materials in a third. The arrangement follows ancient patterns based on the four directions, the sacred numbers, the principles of cosmic harmony. You begin your journey through the marketplace, moving slowly, taking time to observe and appreciate. The diversity of goods is staggering. Products from every corner of the empire, from the hot lowlands to the cold mountains, from the desert to the jungle. The marketplace is a microcosm of the known world. The food section draws your attention first. Mountains of corn in every color, white and yellow, red and blue, each variety with its own properties, its own uses, its own sacred associations. The corn is the foundation of life, the gift of the gods, the substance from which humanity was created. Vendors sit behind their displays, their faces calm and patient, waiting for customers, ready to explain the virtues of their goods. The relationship between buyer and seller is more than commercial. It is a form of communion, a sharing of knowledge and appreciation. You observe the careful arrangement of the goods, each pile perfectly shaped, each color complementing the others. The vendors are artists as well as merchants, creating displays that please the eye as well as serve practical purposes. Beauty and function united in perfect harmony. The scent of chili peppers fills the air, hundreds of varieties displayed in neat rows, from the mild poblano to the fiery habanero, each with its own distinctive aroma, its own place in the culinary tradition. The peppers are medicine as well as food, capable of healing as well as flavoring. You move past pyramids of beans, black and brown, red and white, each type with its own texture, its own cooking requirements, its own nutritional properties. The beans are one of the three sisters, the sacred trilogy that sustains life. Their cultivation is both practical and spiritual. Tomatoes gleam like jewels, red and yellow, green and purple, their skins smooth and taut, promising the sweet tart flavor within. The tomatoes are relatively new to the valley, brought from distant lands, but already integrated into the local cuisine. Nature's constant gift of diversity. The chocolate section is particularly impressive. Cacao beans arranged in perfect geometric patterns, dark and light, large and small, each variety with its own flavor profile, its own ceremonial uses. Chocolate is the drink of the gods, the medium of communion with the divine. You watch as a vendor demonstrates the preparation, grinding the beans on a stone metate, mixing with water and honey, adding vanilla and spices. The process is ritualistic, each step performed with reverence. The resulting liquid is sacred, capable of opening the mind to higher consciousness. The textile section beckons, rolls of cotton cloth in every color, patterns that tell stories, designs that invoke protection. The weaving is exquisite, each thread perfectly placed, each pattern loaded with meaning. The textiles are more than clothing. They are prayer made visible. You examine a particularly beautiful huipil. The cotton is soft and fine, dyed with natural pigments, decorated with patterns that represent the journey of the sun across the sky. The needlework is precise, each stitch a prayer, each color a blessing. The garment is a work of art, a sacred object. The vendor explains the symbolism. The blue represents the sky, the yellow, the sun, the red, the blood of sacrifice. Each element has meaning. Each combination tells a story. The person who wears this garment will be protected by the gods, surrounded by beneficial forces. You move on to the precious materials section. Here, the goods are displayed with special care. Guards watch over the most valuable items. The atmosphere is hushed, reverent, appropriate for materials that will be used in sacred contexts. Jade gleams in the afternoon light, green stones that capture the essence of water, of growing things, of life itself. The jade is more precious than gold, associated with the heart, with the breath of life, with the eternal cycle of death and rebirth. You examine a particularly fine piece, a pendant carved in the shape of a feathered serpent. The craftsmanship is extraordinary. Every scale perfectly rendered, every feather individually carved. The jade seems to glow with inner light, as if alive with divine energy. The vendor speaks softly, reverently, about the stone's properties, its ability to protect the wearer, to enhance wisdom, to facilitate communication with the gods. The jade is not merely decorative, it is a tool of spiritual practice, a means of connecting with the divine. Obsidian blades catch the light, their edges sharper than any metal, their surfaces polished to mirror brightness. The volcanic glass is both practical and sacred, used for cutting and carving, for ritual and ceremony. The obsidian connects the user to the power of the earth. You select a small blade, perfect for cutting bark paper, sharp enough to slice through fiber without tearing. The obsidian is cool to the touch, smooth as silk, its edge invisible in its sharpness. This is a tool that will serve faithfully, enabling precise work. The feather section is a marvel of organization. Thousands of feathers arranged by color and size, from the brilliant green of the quetzal to the deep red of the cardinal, from the iridescent blue of the hummingbird to the pure white of the egret. Each feather is perfect, carefully preserved, ready for use. You watch as artisans work with the feathers, creating elaborate headdresses, decorative shields, ritual costumes. The work requires infinite patience, each feather individually placed, each color carefully chosen. The results are breathtaking, garments fit for the gods themselves. The pigment vendors display their wares with special pride. Bowls of ground minerals, plant extracts, insect dyes, each color pure and vibrant. The pigments are the tools of your trade, the medium through which sacred knowledge is preserved. Their quality determines the permanence of your work. You examine the cochineal red, ground from insects that live on cactus plants. The color is deep and rich, more precious than gold. A single pound requires thousands of insects, each one carefully collected, dried, and ground. The labor involved makes the pigment sacred. The vendor explains the preparation. The insects are harvested at dawn, when the dew is still on the cactus. They are dried in the sun, then ground with stone mortars. The process takes weeks, but the result is a color that will last forever, unaffected by time or weather. You purchase a small amount, enough for several pages of text. The price is high but fair, reflecting the labor and skill required. The pigment is wrapped in soft bark paper, protected from moisture and light. It will wait patiently until needed, ready to serve. You examine a brush made from jaguar hair. The hairs are perfectly aligned, tapered to a fine point, capable of holding ink without dripping, of creating lines both bold and delicate. The handle is carved from bone, polished smooth, comfortable in the hand. The brushmaker explains the construction. The hairs are selected individually, only the finest accepted. They are bound with silk thread, set in a handle carved to perfect balance. The process takes days, but the result is a tool that will last for years, enabling the creation of beautiful work. You purchase several brushes, different sizes for different purposes. Each one tested for balance and flexibility. Each one approved by the master craftsman. These tools will serve faithfully, enabling the continuation of sacred work, the preservation of divine wisdom. The bark paper vendors occupy a special section. Their product is the foundation of all written work. the surface upon which knowledge is preserved. The paper is made from the inner bark of trees, processed according to ancient methods. Each sheet represents hours of skilled labor. You watch as a papermaker demonstrates the process. The bark is soaked in lime water, softening the fibers. Then it is beaten with stone tools, gradually flattening into sheets. The work is rhythmic, meditative, each blow carefully controlled. The result is paper that will last for centuries. The finished sheets are smooth and strong, slightly rough to the touch, perfect for holding ink. The natural color varies slightly, cream to light brown. Each sheet unique, with its own character, its own potential for beauty. The paper is alive, ready to receive the breath of wisdom. You select several sheets, examining each one carefully, feeling for smoothness, testing for strength. The paper must be perfect, capable of holding the sacred symbols without bleeding or fading. Each sheet is a potential masterpiece, waiting for the touch of the brush. The marketplace continues to amaze, each section revealing new wonders, new examples of human skill and creativity. The diversity is overwhelming, but also inspiring, proof of the richness of creation, the endless potential for beauty and meaning. You pass vendors selling musical instruments, flutes carved from bone, drums covered with jaguar skin, rattles filled with seeds. Each instrument is both functional and beautiful, decorated with symbols that enhance its power. Music is prayer made audible, sound that connects earth to heaven. Toolmakers display their craft, obsidian knives with handles of carved wood, copper needles for sewing, stone chisels for carving. Each tool is perfectly balanced, designed for specific purposes. The craftsmanship is extraordinary, every curve and angle calculated for maximum efficiency. Medicine vendors offer their wisdom, herbs and roots, powders and potions, each remedy prepared according to ancient knowledge. The healers are both merchants and priests, their knowledge sacred, their purpose divine. They preserve the health of the body, the balance of the spirit. You observe the careful arrangement of the medicinal plants, each type separated, labeled with symbols that indicate their properties. The knowledge required is vast, passed down through generations of healers. Each plant has its own personality, its own gift to offer. The afternoon sun continues its journey across the sky, the light in the marketplace changing subtly, growing warmer, more golden, casting longer shadows. The day is advancing, but there is no sense of hurry, no pressure to complete transactions quickly. Time moves at the pace of human relationship. You complete your purchases, gathering the materials needed for continued work. The pigments, the brushes, the paper, all carefully selected, all of the highest quality. These materials will enable the creation of beauty, the preservation of wisdom, the continuation of sacred tradition. The vendors wrap your purchases with care, protecting the delicate materials, ensuring they will arrive safely at their destination. The wrapping itself is artistic, using materials that complement the contents. Beauty in every detail, even in the most practical aspects. You begin the journey back through the marketplace, moving slowly, taking time to appreciate the complexity, the organization, the sheer abundance of goods and services. The marketplace is a microcosm of civilization, a demonstration of human potential, guided by divine wisdom. The sounds of the marketplace continue, but they seem softer now, more harmonious. The voices of merchants and customers blending into a gentle symphony. The splash of water in the canals, the soft shuffle of feet on stone, all creating a rhythm that speaks of life in balance. You pause at the temple to Quetzalcoatl that stands within the marketplace, a smaller replica of the great temple in Tenochtitlan, but no less sacred. The god of learning and wisdom watches over the exchange of goods, blessing the transactions, ensuring fairness and prosperity. Pilgrims leave offerings of flowers and incense. Merchants pause to pray for successful sales. Customers ask for guidance in their choices. The temple is active, alive with devotion, proof that commerce and spirituality are not separate, but aspects of the same divine reality. You add your own prayer, asking for continued skill. The afternoon light has grown richer, more golden, painting the marketplace in warm tones. The stone columns glow in the sunlight. The water in the canals reflects the sky. The goods in the stalls seem to pulse with inner life. The entire scene is suffused with beauty. You leave the marketplace, carrying your precious purchases, the materials that will enable continued work, the tools that will serve sacred purposes, the supplies that will help preserve the wisdom of the ages. Each item is more than its physical form. Each carries potential for divine service. The causeway back to Tenochtitlan stretches ahead, stone and water, earth and sky, the eternal elements that form the foundation of existence. The journey is peaceful, meditative, an opportunity to reflect on the day's experiences, to prepare for the evening's work. Other travelers share the causeway. Merchants returning from successful trading, pilgrims carrying offerings to the temples, farmers bringing produce to the city, all united in the common rhythm of life, the eternal dance of giving and receiving, creating and preserving. The sun has begun its descent toward the western horizon, the light growing softer, more diffuse, painting the sky in shades of gold and amber. The day is advancing toward evening, but there is no sense of endings, only of transitions, of the eternal cycle continuing. You reach the great plaza of Tenochtitlan, the temple rising before you, its stepped pyramid silhouetted against the sky. The sacred fire burns at the center, its flame dancing in the evening breeze. The temple steps welcome you, each stone worn smooth by countless feet, each level marking progress toward the sacred chambers. The ascent is familiar, comfortable, like returning home after a long journey. The day's experiences have enriched your understanding, deepened your appreciation. The chamber awaits, unchanged yet somehow transformed by your absence. The morning's work rests safely, the pages dry and permanent, ready to be joined by new creations. The afternoon's purchases will enable continued progress, the preservation of more wisdom. You arrange your new materials, the pigments and brushes, the paper and tools, each item finding its proper place. The organization is both practical and aesthetic, creating harmony in the workspace, enabling the flow of creative energy. The afternoon light streams through the window, different from the morning radiance, richer, more complex, perfect for the detailed work ahead. The chamber is ready, the tools prepared, the materials waiting. The sacred work can continue. But first, a moment of gratitude for the successful journey, for the abundance of the marketplace, for the skill of the artisans who created these tools, for the opportunity to serve the divine through human craft. The gratitude rises like incense smoke, a prayer of appreciation. The afternoon stretches ahead, filled with possibility, with the promise of new pages completed, new symbols created, new connections forged between human and divine. The work continues, eternal and ever-changing. Like the flow of the great river of time, you settle into the working position, feeling your body remember the rhythm, the careful balance of relaxation and attention. The new materials await your touch, ready to be transformed into vessels of wisdom, instruments of divine communication. The sacred work continues, as it has for generations, as it will for generations to come. Each symbol a prayer, each page a prayer, each completed text a bridge between mortal and divine. You are part of the eternal chain, a link in the great work of preservation. The afternoon light grows warm,